All right, Ric Bucher, Bleacher Report, now FS1, as tied in as anybody in this business now joining us here on the couch. All right, let's start. Story yesterday on the show, you talked about a little recruiting, Kobe, yes. Kyrie.
Yes.
Well, apparently Kobe wasn't totally comfortable with it. What's up?
Yeah, Kobe texted me this morning, basically to say, I know they keep trying to pull me into this, but I'm not part of this. Now, the reason, and he had told me this before, and I actually mentioned it yesterday, that he had indicated to me previously, hey, I'm not involved with the Lakers. I'm not part of this brain trust. But I was hearing from other places, including one close to Kyrie, that he was sensing competition from Kobe and reached out to Kobe to find out. And Kobe at least insinuated that, yes, I am... I've expressed some interest in Kyrie. So I am here to say Kobe disavows having any interest, having any involvement, but there are other people that would contest that.
By the way, Kyrie to Brooklyn, you don't love it.
Oh, no, not at all. Not by himself. If this is a KD-Kyrie combination, which, by the way, is not beyond the realm of possibility from what I've heard, I can tell you that I believe KD is going to New York, but I am less convinced as to which team he is joining. If it's KD and Kyrie, I need a player who is better. Kyrie can't be my best player. He can't be my undisputed leader. We just saw that in Boston.
Doesn't work.
No. But if he's the second guy, if he's going with KD, then I can see that working.
Let's talk about KD for a second. This was going to be such a clean break.
Yep.
I win a third championship, finals MVP. Golden State's like, we may not love you as much as Steph, but we love you.
Yeah.
And New York's like, all right, let's try the new experience. Mm-hmm. Now he's hobbling out of Golden State. Don't you think that he has maybe a little misgiving about it's going to be his 13th year next year?
100%. The injury, I am told, has created a wavering in his resolve to leave. The question is, how severe is the injury? When am I going to be back? I don't expect him to play in this series.
So, okay, that's a serious injury.
But yeah, exactly. And could it impact next season? And if it does, am I better off not having to carry the load to walk into New York or even Brooklyn with the expectations that I've got to play 38, 40 minutes a night.
And 80 games.
And I've got to do it every night. I got to carry that load. Or do I do I opt in? Do I do another year here where I can take my time?
33 minutes a night.
Getting back. We're still going to be competitive. Who knows? I might be part of a four-peat. Like, there's reason to think about it. And everything is going to depend upon his recovery from the injury. Like, when does that happen? How does he physically feel? But I can tell you from what I've heard, I said it here. Like when you asked me, you had heard it from Bill Simmons that it was a done deal. I said, I'm hearing the same thing. I have yet to hear one person say to me, no, he's staying in Golden State. In the last 48 hours concerning the injury, I've had somebody say, I think he might stay at Golden State. That's the first time I've heard that since this entire narrative began.
I said this almost an hour ago. Joy was sitting here. I said, listen, I've moved 4 times across country. It's amazing how often Americans, maybe not as wealthy or famous as KD, you're going to move to Dallas and your wife gets sick. Mm-hmm. Or there's a situation with a kid and you have a great children's hospital nearby. Stuff changes in people's lives.
Yes, exactly.
All the time.
And that's the challenge, honestly, in my role or in our roles in discussing these things.
Yes.
People want you to make a statement. This is what's going to happen, and that's it. And if it doesn't happen, then and I'm like, everything's fluid. I feel my job is, because I talk to a lot of people and I hear a lot, to give you as much as I can of what I am hearing and seeing
in the moment,
and allow you to make your decision and follow the story.
Exactly.
Because it's an evolving thing.
Absolutely. Okay, biggest lunch in the NBA. Anthony Davis is having lunch with David Griffin.
I thought you were going to talk about our dinner last night.
Well, I got to get to this because Anthony Davis is not confrontational.
Yes.
He's not an alpha. He doesn't like to hurt feelings. Does he have the guts today to tell David Griffin, I want out? Because if he does, he will change multiple teams in this league in the next 72 hours.
Yeah. The only way he would is because it's already out there. But there's a reason that Rich Paul came out. And Rich Paul told me this. The reason Rich Paul had to come out and say AD wanted to be traded.
The trading deadline.
Is at the trade deadline because AD wouldn't say that to the Pelicans.
That's not who he is.
No.
Today's a breakup lunch.
Yes.
You go. We've all driven to a breakup lunch.
Yes.
Your stomach's in knots.
Hey, when Denver was contemplating trading Carmelo Anthony to either the Nets or the Knicks, Masai Ujiri went to Carmelo and said, "Are you staying? Will you re-up, or do you want out?" Carmelo would not answer the question.
He didn't want to offend people.
And Masai took that as, you're out.
Yeah.
Either tell me you're in,
Dwight Howard,
or you're out.
Tell the Dwight Howard story.
Dwight Howard with Orlando. He was all ready to go on. He wanted out. They got him into a room. They got a bunch of the sponsors in a room. They isolated him. They did it without his agent. And Dwight caved. And he because he was going to get on a plane with his teammates, and then the next thing you see is Instagram. You see a photo of him with the guys on the plane. And yaha, you know. But he'd handed the keys back to Orlando, and he immediately regretted it as soon as he did it.
So that's what I'm saying. Today's a breakup lunch. Yep. Anthony Davis, his temperament is not confrontational. It's not. Does he have the guts to do what is the opposite of his DNA, which is, David, I want out, and sit there for an hour at lunch and just be completely uncomfortable. Yeah. And finally, we went to dinner last night. You told me during the break that you had an observation at dinner. We had fish in a dark room. What was your observation?
So, Joy, let me share this with Joy.
Okay.
I walk in.
Okay.
And everybody is on the patio. Like everybody. So I walk the length of the restaurant thinking, where's Colin? And then I turn and I look back, and it was like Don Corleone of Manhattan Beach. He's at a table by himself. The rest of the room is completely empty. I mean, the inside of the restaurant is completely empty except for Don over in the corner with his own waitress, just holding court to a room by itself. The only thing that was missing were a bunch of security guys with earpieces talking into their wrists. That was the only thing. And maybe something. It was a Greek restaurant. It should have been an Italian restaurant.
Well, it's funny because you gave me the weirdest look when you came over, and I couldn't figure it out, and I just thought,
Do you not like to sit on the patio, or there were no tables available?
First of all, when I go to a restaurant, I always face the door. Yeah. So I want to see that. I want to see who's coming in. So if there is
that like, gangster? That's not gangster. No, that's gangster.
That is a very
that's a mob move right there.
Criminal thing to do.
I literally dated a girl 20 years ago who said the same thing. She said, like,
well, I mean, you always want to face the door. You got to see who's coming in.
But back to the wall, like nothing going on behind him. Everything's out in front of him, and there's no. I mean, literally, there's 20 tables, 30 tables.
So that was the only table that
nobody else is in there.
Faced the door.
Listen, that's how Tony Soprano survived. You got to know who's coming in the restaurant so you don't get whacked.
I agree with you. This is news that's how you roll, Colin.
Ric Bucher is awesome. Hour 3, Damon Stoudemire stops by. All sorts of good stuff. We head to our third hour in Los Angeles. We had fish. It was good fish. It's The Herd.